Painting with a Purpose, friends. Today we're going to paint a seahorse. So some of the colors that you will need are regular blue, a teal blue, some green. I mixed a little bit of red with my brown, black, white, yellow, and this is made with blue and green and a little bit of white. You're going to need this color for the water. You will also need some sort of old sponge, and it should be damp. You will need, I'm going to be using my 2-inch flat brush. I'm also going to be using my medium-sized flat brush and my small round. If you don't have this 2-inch, you can do everything with this one. Alright, so to start, we're going to paint the bottom of our canvas with this regular blue. You're only going to go up about halfway. Now, don't even wipe your brush, don't rinse it, and go into that teal looking blue that you made mixing blue and green and a little bit of white. And the top half of your canvas is going to be that color. And then when you get to that line, and you have the whole top half done, and you get to that line, you're just going to run this brush right across that line. You're going to pull some of the lighter color into the dark and some of the dark. Once you have that done and blended, you're just going to wipe that off. No need to rinse it. And we're going to add just a little bit of this teal color. Just a little bit. And I'm going to put it kind of right here in the middle, just to lighten it up a little bit. I might pull a little bit up here. All right, just a little bit. Then you're going to take your sponge that is damp, and you're going to add a little bit more white to the color that we used on top before we added that light teal. So just add a little bit of white to that. And you're going to dip your sponge in it, and it should pick up the paint pretty good because it's damp. And you're just going to take that and kind of press it all over, even down into the dark blue. We're just giving it that texture look, like the light is hitting the water. Once you have that finished, lightly take your 2-inch brush and just kind of run it across those texture lines. It just kind of mutes it and smears it, but you can still see that texture in your canvas to kind of make it look like the light is shining in through the water. Now we let this dry. After this is dry, we're going to start with our coral. That is the little bit of red mixed with your brown. All right, now that our background is good and dry, we're going to add some coral behind our seahorse. So that red brown that you mixed up and your small round brush, we're going to make our first line of coral. It's kind of like making a tree, just not as big. So we're going to start down here on the bottom left-hand side, and we're just going to do a line all the way from the bottom right off this top edge. just like so. And from here we're going to make it a little wider down here at the bottom. We're going to make another piece kind of curve off this way. Thicken it up some. And just above that, we're going to do another branch right above it. It's going to kind of come up and go way up high here. And it has, I'm going to thicken it up some first. And then it has a little piece that kind of comes off here. And it has a piece that shoots off here. And then off of here, just above where that one, we've got one that kind of comes up and goes right off the edge of that canvas. And another one. That comes off of here. Widen this one up at the top. And then there's some littler pieces that kind of come up here. There's a branch that comes out this way. There's some littler pieces that come off of it. Widen and darken this end up. There's a little piece that comes off of here. We're going to darken up a little bit of that red brown. We're going to add some more red to it. So scoop a little bit of the red brown that you have mixed to the side and add a little more red. So add some red and then just a touch of black. And we're just going to kind of darken. This one is going to be in the background, so you should end up with a darker red-brown color. So you scooped a little bit of the red-brown that you had mixed off to the side. You added a little bit more red and a little bit more black. And this is going to be this coral that's over here. It's kind of off in the distance, but it starts from the bottom right-hand side. And it just kind of curves up. Just like so. And it should be a little darker than the one that you did. It has a branch that comes off of it right here. There's a little branch that comes off here, runs right off the edge of the canvas. It's got some little light branches that come off there. Right here in this bend, it has another branch that kind of comes up. And then it has another branch that Y's off of this. And then it has a little branch that comes up here and maybe here. And this is just that darker. Now go ahead and wipe your brush off and go back to this first color, the lighter color. The color that you originally started with. We have to finish this piece. And this piece kind of comes across this other piece. So right here at the bottom, it comes all the way up. It doesn't really touch this. It like Y's. It connects with this main thing down here somewhere off of your canvas. And it just comes straight out, kind of cuts in front of this just a little bit. And then off of this is a piece that cuts in front of this up here. And then there's a piece that comes down here. And a little piece right here. So these kind of cut in front of that darker coral. Now that we have our coral, we have to go add some highlights to our coral. So wipe the brown off. You don't need to rinse it, just wipe it. Get some of that white on here on your brush. Same brush. And we're just going to add a little bit of white. Again, if it gets to be too much white, you can go back and add brown. So if this is too much down here, go over it with brown. You're still going to see that white. It still lightens it up. But you want a little bit of white showing. And then I'm going to come up here with some white. Maybe across here a little bit. And I'm going to do a little bit of white right here. Add some white through here on this back piece. That's just a little darker than the front piece. This piece needs some white. Alright, now that you have added some white to your coral, wipe your brush. We're going to add a little bit of seagrass down here, just a little bit. It's not a lot. You barely see it with that light green color. So down here, you've got a little piece of seagrass. It just kind of comes right there. There's another little piece that kind of comes up off of it. It's another little piece of seagrass that kind of comes between these two pieces of coral. I'm starting to pick up some browns. I'm going to wipe my brush off again. You got a little piece of seagrass. Kind of comes right through here. And then maybe you've got a little piece that kind of sits right here along this edge. Not a lot, just a little bit of greenery. Now once our coral is all dry, we're gonna start on our seahorse. All right, now that your coral is dry, I'm just gonna take a pencil and I'm just gonna kind of sketch lightly the outline of my seahorse. So I'm gonna pull it a little closer. I'm gonna kind of start, well, that doesn't work. I'll just leave it up here so you guys can see. His head is gonna set right here and it kind of curves in from his nose. You guys are not gonna be able to see this. We'll do it in white paint. So I would recommend you guys going ahead and sketching it with pencil, but I'll show you in white paint so you can see a little better. You are going to use the white paint after you've sketched it. So I'm just going to start like right here, and this is going to be like the bridge of his nose, and it just kind of comes up. It's the front of his head. His nose kind of comes out like this. The little chin type thing right here. But you do this with pencil first. That way you have some guidelines. And then his head kind of curves down and then it rounds. And I'm going to come in here and do his neck. That kind of curves up, and then his belly comes down, he's gonna have a big belly, and then this curves in, and then it curves back out. And it comes way down and around. And this is his tail. So this is going to continue to circle down. And here is his tail. All right, now that I have a good base outline of my seahorse, I'm actually just gonna paint him white. So this is where your medium flat brush can come into. And you just fill him in with white. Now, the next color that we are going to use is that teal looking color, that light blue color. And you are going to want just a little bit of it. You don't need to wipe your brush or anything, but we're just going to come in here and sideways we're going to add some color to him. So we're going from side to side for right now. And we're just going to add, I'm going to make him like a teal color. Alright, I'm going to get my smaller brush and do his smaller areas. And again, I'm just using a little bit. I didn't wipe the white off. My white is still wet, so it's blending well. Do his nose. You end up getting too much color, just go back over it with white. His nose got bigger. Alright, now that we have a good color on our seahorse, we're going to come in with that darker blue, and we're going to add a line up underneath his chin. Kind of curves like this. We're going to go back in with this teal blue, and we're going to add some stripes on him. So we're just going to put some teal stripes. You want them to stand out, so don't blend them in. And you're going to do that all the way through his tail. Go ahead and wipe that off. And with that dark blue, just underneath of those color, that teal color that you just did, you're going to run some dark blue lines. Just underneath. Right here around his tail, it's going to have a little more dark blue. We're going to take a little bit of our yellow, and we're going to come off here. Let's do dark blue first up here by his head. I forgot to do dark blue right here. So he gets a line of dark blue here. He gets a line of dark blue here and here at the tip of his nose, and a little bit underneath here. Alright, now let's do the yellow, and we'll go back to the dark blue in just a minute. So make sure you have all the blue off of your brush, or you're going to end up with green. And we don't want green, we want yellow. And right up here, he's going to have some yellow spiky things that kind of come off a little bit. And then where his back fin is, go ahead and wipe that yellow off. And where his back fin is, he's gonna have some spiky things kind of coming off here with that teal color that we did his stripes with. This is like his back fin. And then we're going to come back in with that dark blue and add just a little bit of dark blue lines through here. Just like so. Go ahead and wipe your brush and just a little bit of red, not a lot. We're going to right along the top of these teal lines, we're going to do a little bit of red. And the red is going to kind of go over outside of the seahorse line. Not a lot, just a little bit. And it just kind of runs right along that top edge of those teal stripes, and it just goes right off the edge of that seahorse. Put a little red through his hair. He gets a little red kind of up here. And that dark blue again, wipe your brush. That dark blue kind of runs right down here along this edge, his underbelly. And along his tail. And then it goes in between all these lines on the outside. Just like so. A little bit of dark comes down around his belly. I'm going to lighten that just a smidge with some white. There we go. And then we need to rinse our brush really well. And we're going to go back to our white. And we're going to add some white on the inside up here above all these. So kind of before the red, some wider white lines. It goes all the way down in his tail. I'm going to miss a spot on that dark blue. I'll do the dark blue there. The red also comes all the way through his tail. And we're going to go back to our yellow. So make sure your brush is nice and clean. Nice and clean. And we're going to take just a little bit of yellow. We're going to mute it with some white. So it's a really soft yellow. Almost you can hardly tell that it's yellow. And we're going to do some yellow through here. Just barely tell. We're just kind of putting it in between, above where that white was, all the way through his tail. We're going to come in here and add a little bit kind of in his belly area. All right, now we're ready for his eye. So we're going to take that dark blue. You're still using that same small brush. And he gets an eyeball that sits right here. I have a hair on my brush. There you go. So there's his eye. And we're going to add a little bit of that dark blue down the bridge of his nose, right in front of his eye. And then we're going to add a little bit of white also down the bridge of his nose and up above his eye, like so. Right behind his eye, we're going to take that teal blue and we're just going to give him like little gills right here. And then with the plastic end of your brush, we're going to put some dots right along his back fin. I'm going to come over this yellow with some white, the yellow that's at the top of his head. I just think it needs to be a little lighter. So I'm just going to kind of go over it with some white and then maybe come back over it with just a little bit of yellow. I still want it to be yellow, but not so bright yellow. And right down these dots, we're going to do a dark blue line. Just underneath all those dots. Alright guys, there's your seahorse. You can leave it like this, or maybe you want to add some little bubbles coming out. So you can use the plastic end of your brush or the paintbrush part and add some bubbles kind of above his nose. It's completely up to you what you want to do. But there is your seahorse. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you see, please hit the like and subscribe button so that we can keep bringing you fun stuff to paint. If you have any suggestions, just send us a message. We're happy to take any suggestions. Happy painting!